Hi, it's Phil Tricky from Tricky Sound. This is my second video showing specifically how I overcame the challenges of linking the audio from Cubase into OBS. I touched on that in the first video, which is looking at the D-Touch multi-touch screen and software with Cubase. But a number of people have asked me to explain how I managed to get the audio to work with OBS. So this video attempts to do that. So here we have OBS, and you can see I've got a number of scenes set up for different combinations of my different displays. So this is the multi-touch screen. I've got my LG1 with some windows open, my LG2 at the top, which has got my Cubase mixer. And then there's just my welcome screen. So looking at the multi-touch screen where I've got OBS, you can see that I've got a number of sound sources set up. So I've got a mic audio in, and the mic audio in is just using the default in on Windows, which is what I'm using in terms of audio in, which defaults to my Motu sound card that has the microphone plugged into it. You can see also that I've got an audio input called Cubase. Now that was the challenging one to get to work. So what I needed to do was to put a plugin into Cubase to stream the audio out such that OBS could see it as an input coming into OBS rather than an output coming out of Cubase. So if I just switch to my LG monitor, I'll show you how I did that. So you can see here I found a plugin called ReaPlugs, which is by Reaper, and it's it's their VST effects suite. And it includes a streaming plugin, excuse me, which I can use to stream audio from Cubase and broadcast it locally on my PC and pick it up by OBS. It's simpler than it sounds. What I did was actually go to my top screen. I set up a master group and fed all of my channels, all of my tracks in Cubase to that master group. There's a reason for doing that, which I'll explain in a moment. And on that master group, I've got an insert which has on it, so these are Cubase inserts, which are post fader, and I put ReaStream, which is the plugin from ReaPlugs from Reaper. What it does, you can see I've opened it up here, and what it does is it enables me to send the audio and broadcast it locally. So when I hit play on Cubase, you can see there's a level going from the insert on the master group through the ReaStream application. So that's sending out the audio, and because I've got all of my channels going through that master group, it's sending my whole mix out through ReaStream. The reason that I set up a master group before the stereo out was for some reason the output was extremely hot coming out of the stereo out, and there's no way of adjusting the input into ReaStream, at least none that I could see. So the way around that is to put it onto a master group, which gives me control over the volume going into ReaStream. So now if I come down to the multi-touch screen, I've set up an audio input called Cubase audio input. Here it appears in the mixer. And if I go to settings for that input, you can see that I've actually got a ReaStream standalone plugin. So all you do, I'll show you that again, is set up an audio input as one of your sources. appears in the mixer. Go to the settings cog and click on filters, and in there I've added, just by clicking on the plus button, a VST2 plugin. That then gives me a list of all the different VST2 plugins that I could choose, and I've obviously selected the ReaStream standalone plugin. I click on open the plugin interface. I see a similar interface now. This is receiving the audio from the one that's transmitting it out of Cubase. If I hit play, you'll see the audio streaming into this plugin within OBS. I close that down. You can see the signals coming in there, and I have control over that signal. I'll just stop Cubase. At the same time, if I just on my other LG, I'll just start an advert on YouTube, and you can see that's coming into the browser audio on the mixer. I've got these all independent. You can see my microphone. I hit Cubase. There comes Cubase, and I've got the browser audio. In the course of this masterclass, stop the advert. So the way to do that, just to recap, is to put the ReaStream plugin on a master output. I've done it through a master group to give me control of the level going into that plugin. So I put it as an insert on that master group, and I'm broadcasting that. Show you time. You can see there in the plugin, I'm broadcasting that on local broadcast, which sends it to the ReaStream receiver, which I've got on my OBS. It's more straightforward than it sounds. It's basically putting the ReaStream plugin on the output from your DAW, the master output, and putting the receiver in as a VST plugin as a filter on an audio input within OBS. And that then gives you control over all of the separate audio inputs. Hopefully that explained it reasonably well. Leave comments if you'd like me to go through it again, or any points of clarification. I'll be happy to see if I can help. But hopefully you found that quite useful. Many thanks.